Hello, welcome back to my channel. I want to talk to you about why right now might be the best time for you to retire. Now, of course, it's going to depend on how old you are and how much money you have and all of those things, but the reason I'm talking about might not be what you're expecting. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Tammy. I just turned 60 years old and I am making my plans for an exit strategy from 40 plus years of working a career in the corporate world, walking away from my six-figure salary in order to start living my dreams as soon as possible. What if I told you that now is the best time to retire? And not because of what you might think. One of the reasons that I am even more motivated than ever to figure out my escape plan is a study that I saw in a video the other day. In 2021, the World Health Organization came out with a study that tracks the healthy average life expectancy of people around the world. And this report is broken down by country, and it shows the average age at which people can expect to live without any major health issues. I personally was shocked for two reasons. One was that when you looked at the list of all the countries by oldest to youngest, I had to page down to find the United States. The United States is way far below the rest of the world in terms of healthy life expectancy. Now, we're still ranking very well on average life expectancy, but healthy life expectancy, I was shocked. If you look at these reports, it shows that between men and women in the United States, average healthy life expectancy is around 66 years old. What age do most people in the United States plan to retire? Around 65? If you're lucky, meaning you have maybe a year before you encounter any significant health issues that could derail all of your great plans of adventures in your retirement years. Now, this is an average, of course. That doesn't mean that everyone, when they turn 66, is suddenly going to be plagued by health issues. But I think if you've looked around enough, you've probably seen many examples in your own life of people who were waiting until that magical 65 or 67 years old in order to retire, feeling that they had to continue to work to keep saving that money because they were afraid they wouldn't have enough to get them through until they die, basically. I know I've had personal experiences near and dear to my heart where 4 years ago, I lost my sister to COVID. She was only 60 years old. And she had other health issues before she got sick, which I know probably contributed to the fact that she did not survive COVID. And I then rapidly saw my parents' health decline, their cognition decline, their physical abilities decline. I was thrust into the role of primary caregiver almost overnight. And if any of you are dealing with a similar situation of having to care for aging parents, parents with dementia or other issues, my heart goes out to you. I never imagined what it was going to be like taking care of my parents when they became cognitively impaired, physically impaired. I would have never really even thought it would have been me because my sister was older and she was a nurse practitioner and a nurse for many years, and she was always the one that everyone just assumed would take care of things. She always knew what to do. She understood the medical establishment. So anytime anybody got sick or in the ER or anything like that, she was always the first person to step up and take charge and take care of it. And I, as the youngest sister, thought I probably wouldn't have to deal with it too much. But then in 2021, When my sister passed away unexpectedly from COVID, I was lost. And at that time, probably due to the fact of my sister's death, my parents started declining rapidly. To see your parents, who have always been bright, intelligent, strong, capable, competent, to start losing their abilities to do everything that used to come so easily to them, it's heartbreaking. And my dad started having some serious health issues where he would just pass out and faint unexpectedly. To see your dad just fall out on the floor with no warning multiple times a day, it's traumatizing. It was traumatizing to me. And then there were days when I had to physically take care of him, help him out of bed and help him move around. And it was a rough couple of years. My mom was also declining. She had some sort of aphasia where she really couldn't talk that much, and her personality changed. And 5 years before she even passed away, I had already lost so much of who I knew her to be. And then I had to make the difficult decisions of moving them to an assisted living facility and then to a memory care facility. I had to take charge of moving them from a 3-bedroom house to a 1-room memory care facility. And I had to make all the decisions about what had to be let go of, what had to be sold and given away. And they weren't even in a state of mind that they could have made those decisions on their own. And that was heartbreaking. Never really being able to have a good night's sleep because you're waiting on that call in the middle of the night, either from the memory care facility telling me that my dad had fallen, or he's going to the emergency room, or something happened to my mom, or my dad calling me delirious, hallucinating, telling me terrible things were happening and they were all in his mind, or just begging me to take him home, not even realizing where home was anymore. Again, if you are dealing with or you have dealt with this, I'm so sorry. I think this is one of the hardest things as adults we ever have to deal with, and it takes a toll. I've read reports that caregivers are likely to die even before the people they're taking care of because of the stress and the deterioration of their health. And I would believe it. I was fortunate that my parents did have enough money set aside that they could cover the cost of the assisted living and the memory care. And I didn't have to quit my job at that time to take care of them full time. I didn't have to move them in with me or move in with them. And I know a lot of people do not have that luxury. Obviously, I'm so grateful that we were able to do that. It's heartbreaking either way. You either have the pain of taking care of them firsthand, or the guilt of having someone else do it. So, long story short, my mother got sick in 2022 and passed away in late 2022. And then my father continued to decline even more after my mom passed. And 8 months later, in July of 2023, my dad passed away as well. So after 2023, beginning of 2024, even though I was grieving the loss of my parents, I was finally starting to believe that my life was going to settle down, that the stress was going to ease, that some of the issues I've been dealing with just because of the stress, inability to focus, lack of energy, just lack of executive function, being able to take care of all the things that needed to be taken care of in life. I thought that was going to get better, and it was. And then in May of 2024, my boyfriend started having severe back pains, and we assumed that it was a slipped disc or something like that. And when I was finally able to convince him or force him to go to the emergency room, he was in a very bad state. And once they got him stabilized, they told us that he had acute myeloid leukemia and that the treatment with chemotherapy was very promising. And they would get him started on chemo as soon as he was fully stabilized. And then a week later, they were taking him to the cath lab to get the port installed for his chemo. And he started going into respiratory distress. He couldn't breathe. They moved him to the ICU. They put him on a BiPAP. His oxygen levels just were not rising. He was filling up with fluid. The doctor said he had cancer all throughout his body. And then that night they put him on a ventilator because they just couldn't get his oxygen levels up. And at 6:15 in the morning, he went into cardiac arrest and they could not save him. So approximately 2 weeks after he first had symptoms, he was dead. He was, as far as we knew, extremely healthy. He was extremely active. He was extremely positive. He was thin. He was in shape. He was the last person that you would imagine would have anything going on with him. And so I was in shock, of course. Just when I thought that everything was going to be on a new trajectory, he and I were making plans of maybe building a school bus out and traveling the country with our dogs, or just traveling and having adventures together. And he also was working a job out of town because the money was better. And he didn't have a lot saved, so he was trying to get caught up and get money saved. And while the money was very good, we only got to see each other every 3 weeks. And I so regret the weeks and weeks of time that we could not spend together because he was working. And you can't go back. You can't change anything in the past. But all that long story to say that tomorrow is not promised. And even though the situations in my world, the people that were close to me that died before they ever had a chance to live their dreams, their retirement dreams, now I see this World Health Organization report and it seems so obvious. When you hit your 60s, there's such a good chance that you're going to have health issues that could slow you down, especially in this country, for whatever reason. And I'm sure plenty of you have theories on why this might be the case, but I just think there's no time to lose. So if you are close to this age, if you are thinking about retiring and you have the financial wherewithal to get you through the next couple of years until you can collect Social Security, obviously your mileage may vary. Your situation is unique. If you love your job, if your job gives you purpose and meaning and excitement and keeps you healthy, then by all means, don't stop. But if you are looking to expand your horizons, if you're looking to travel the world or even travel the country and your job does not allow you the freedom to do that, then don't wait. Figure it out. Either take extended vacations to do what's on your bucket list, go part-time, figure out a way to live off of your savings. I may not be retired forever. I may just be taking a gap year, but I know that time is of the essence. Even though I'm perfectly healthy, well, I have the aches and pains that come when you get into your late 50s and 60s. I probably have arthritis, but my blood work is great. I have no heart issues. I have nothing else apparently physically wrong with me, but the body doesn't move the way the body used to move. The energy is not there. And not only that, I still have a lot of executive dysfunction. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell my house because the expenses on the house, on the mortgage, going to drain my savings quickly. and I want to live overseas or at least travel overseas for at least a year. And so I won't be needing my house, and I can free up almost $3,000 a month if I sell the house. So that is what I have decided to do, and I'm in the process of making arrangements to get that rolling, to get that started. I need to undertake a huge decluttering process in order to even get the house ready to show for sale. And once the house does sell, then I plan to sell 90% of my belongings and maybe have a small amount of things in a storage unit, which in the long run I may not even need. But that is a huge undertaking. And that's some of the things I'll be sharing with you on my channel, is the process of getting ready for this big move and this big decision. And if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll join me on the journey. I hope to hold myself accountable and inspire others while I share with you what works and what doesn't work and all of the things that happen along the way. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit like or subscribe, and you'll see more content in the future. Thanks.